Welcome to CEO's Library, the 1% bookshelf. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of snap decisions and the power of thinking without thinking. Imagine you're walking through a museum, admiring ancient artifacts, when suddenly you come across a statue that just doesn't seem quite right. You can't put your finger on why, but something about it feels off. Within seconds, your gut tells you it's a fake. This is exactly what happened to a group of art experts when they encountered the Getty Kouros, a supposedly ancient Greek statue. Despite scientific tests suggesting its authenticity, these experts knew instantly that something was amiss. Their snap judgment, made in the blink of an eye, turned out to be correct. This remarkable ability to make split-second decisions is at the heart of Malcolm Gladwell's groundbreaking book, Blink: The Power of Thinking Without Thinking. I'm your host, and in this episode, we'll explore how our unconscious minds can make incredibly accurate decisions in an instant, and how we can harness this power to improve our decision-making in all aspects of life. Throughout the next 30 minutes, we'll unpack the science behind thin slicing, examine real-world examples of rapid cognition in action, and provide you with actionable strategies to enhance your intuitive skills. Whether you're a business leader looking to make better strategic choices, a creative professional seeking to trust your instincts, or simply someone fascinated by the hidden workings of the mind, this episode will forever change how you think about thinking. So, let's dive in and discover the power of the adaptive unconscious, the pitfalls of overthinking, and the delicate balance between gut feelings and careful analysis. By the end of this episode, you'll have a new appreciation for those lightning-fast thoughts that flash through your mind and the potential they hold for transforming your decision-making process. Our journey into the world of rapid cognition begins with understanding the concept of thin slicing. Thin slicing is our brain's ability to find patterns in situations and behavior based on very narrow slices of experience. It's the mental equivalent of a high-speed computer processing vast amounts of data in milliseconds to arrive at a conclusion. Think about the last time you met someone new. Within moments, you likely formed an impression of their personality, trustworthiness, and even their potential as a friend or romantic partner. This near-instantaneous assessment is thin slicing in action. Your brain is rapidly processing a multitude of subtle cues, body language, tone of voice, facial expressions, and comparing them against a lifetime of social interactions to form a judgment. But thin slicing isn't just about first impressions. It's a fundamental aspect of how we navigate the world around us. Gladwell illustrates this with the story of the Getty Kouros, which we touched on in our introduction. When the J. Paul Getty Museum in California acquired this ancient Greek statue in the 1980s, they subjected it to extensive scientific analysis. The results suggested it was authentic. However, when art experts were brought in to examine the piece, many had an immediate visceral reaction that something wasn't right. One expert, Evelyn Harrison, took one look at the statue and exclaimed, "I'm sorry to hear that." When asked to explain her reaction, she struggled to articulate exactly what was wrong. Another expert, Thomas Hoving, described his first thought upon seeing the Kouros as fresh, a word that should never apply to an ancient statue. These experts were thin slicing. Their years of experience studying ancient Greek sculptures had trained their unconscious minds to recognize patterns and details that didn't fit, even if they couldn't immediately explain why. As it turned out, their snap judgments were correct. The Getty Kouros was later proven to be a modern forgery. This example highlights a crucial aspect of thin slicing. It often operates below the level of conscious awareness. Our brains are constantly processing information and making judgments without our active participation. This is the work of what Gladwell calls the adaptive unconscious, a kind of giant computer that quickly and quietly processes a lot of the data we need in order to keep functioning as human beings. The adaptive unconscious is not to be confused with the Freudian unconscious, which is often portrayed as a dark, murky place filled with repressed desires and memories. Instead, the adaptive unconscious is a helpful tool that allows us to navigate complex situations quickly and efficiently. Consider how you cross a busy street. You don't consciously calculate the speed and trajectory of every approaching car. Instead, your adaptive unconscious rapidly assesses the situation, allowing you to cross safely without having to think about every step. This same process is at work when a basketball player makes a split-second decision to pass the ball or when a firefighter instinctively knows it's time to evacuate a burning building. The power of thin slicing and the adaptive unconscious becomes even more apparent when we look at examples of expert intuition. In Blink, Gladwell recounts the story of a firefighter named Lieutenant Niles who saved his team from disaster during a routine kitchen fire. As they were hosing down the fire, Niles had a gut feeling that something was wrong. He ordered his men out of the house, and moments later, the floor they had been standing on collapsed. When asked later how he knew to get out, Niles initially said it was ESP. It took hours of analysis with a cognitive psychologist to unpack what really happened: the unusually quiet fire, the unusual heat, and the way the fire reacted to the water. All these cues were processed unconsciously by Niles's experienced brain, triggering his life-saving decision. This type of expert intuition isn't limited to high-stakes professions like firefighting. It's present in all fields where individuals have developed deep expertise. A master chess player can glance at a board and instantly recognize promising moves. An experienced doctor can sometimes diagnose a complex condition in seconds, based on subtle cues that might take a novice hours to identify. The key to developing this level of intuition is experience and training. The more exposure we have to a particular domain, the more patterns our unconscious mind can recognize and act upon. This is why thin slicing can be so powerful. It allows us to tap into a vast reservoir of knowledge and experience that we may not even realize we possess. However, it's important to note that while snap judgments can be remarkably accurate, they're not infallible. Our rapid cognition can sometimes lead us astray, particularly when influenced by biases and stereotypes. This brings us to the dark side of thin slicing, which Gladwell explores in depth. One of the most striking examples of how our snap judgments can be skewed is what Gladwell calls the Warren Harding error. Warren Harding was elected President of the United States in 1920, largely because he looked like a president. He was tall, handsome, and distinguished-looking. People assumed he had the character and intelligence to match his appearance. In reality, Harding is widely considered one of the worst presidents in American history. The Warren Harding error illustrates how our unconscious associations can lead us to make poor judgments. We often associate height, attractiveness, and a commanding presence with leadership ability, even though these traits have no bearing on a person's competence or character. This type of unconscious bias extends far beyond politics. Studies have shown that taller men are more likely to be hired and promoted in the corporate world, and that attractive people are often assumed to be more intelligent and capable than their less attractive peers. These snap judgments happen so quickly and automatically that we often don't realize we're making them. To demonstrate how pervasive these unconscious biases can be, Gladwell discusses the implicit association test, IAT. This test measures the strength of associations between concepts and evaluations or stereotypes. For example, one version of the IAT measures how quickly people associate positive words with white faces and negative words with black faces, and vice versa. The results of these tests are often surprising and unsettling. Many people who consciously believe in racial equality and reject stereotypes still show a strong implicit bias on the IAT. This doesn't mean these individuals are secretly racist. Rather, it reveals how our unconscious minds can absorb and reflect societal biases without our awareness. Understanding these biases is crucial because they can have real-world consequences. In one study, researchers sent out identical resumes with either typically white or typically black names. The resumes with white-sounding names received 50% more callbacks for interviews. This kind of unconscious discrimination can shape everything from hiring decisions to medical diagnoses to split-second decisions made by law enforcement. So, how can we overcome these biases and improve the accuracy of our snap judgments? Gladwell suggests several strategies. First, we need to become aware of our biases. Simply knowing that we have these unconscious associations can help us pause and question our initial reactions. Second, we can create environments that promote fair judgment. For example, some orchestras have begun using blind auditions, where musicians perform behind a screen. This has led to a significant increase in the hiring of female musicians, who were previously underrepresented in many orchestras. Third, we can expose ourselves to counter-stereotypical examples. The more we see images and stories of people breaking stereotypes, the more our unconscious associations can change over time. But perhaps the most powerful tool for improving our rapid cognition is practice and training. Just as the art experts could instantly spot a forgery due to their years of experience, we can train our unconscious minds to make better snap judgments in our areas of expertise. This brings us to a crucial question. When should we trust our gut instincts, and when should we rely on more careful, deliberate analysis? Gladwell argues that the answer depends on the situation and our level of expertise. In some cases, more information and more time to analyze it can lead to better decisions. For complex problems with many variables, careful analysis is often necessary. However, in situations where we have relevant expertise and where quick action is required, trusting our instincts can be remarkably effective. Gladwell illustrates this with the story of a hospital that improved its diagnosis of heart attacks by limiting the information doctors initially considered. Instead of looking at a patient's full medical history and risk factors, doctors were trained to focus on just a few key indicators. This streamlined approach, which relied more on rapid cognition, actually improved the accuracy of diagnoses. The key is finding the right balance between intuition and analysis. This balance will be different for everyone and will depend on the specific situation. An experienced emergency room doctor might rely heavily on their gut feelings, while a researcher studying a new disease would lean more towards careful, systematic analysis. For most of us, improving our decision-making involves both honing our intuitive skills and knowing when to slow down and think more deliberately. Here are some strategies you can use to strike this balance. 1. Develop expertise. The more knowledge and experience you have in a particular area, the more you can trust your rapid cognition in that domain. 2. Create decision-making frameworks. Having a structured approach to decisions can help you quickly focus on the most relevant information. 3. Be aware of your emotional state. Strong emotions can skew our judgments. If you're feeling particularly stressed, angry, or excited, it might be best to slow down and think more carefully. 4. Practice mindfulness. Regular meditation or mindfulness exercises can help you become more aware of your thoughts and impulses, allowing you to better distinguish between helpful intuitions and biased, snap judgments. 5. Seek diverse perspectives. Exposing yourself to a variety of viewpoints can help counter unconscious biases and broaden your intuitive understanding. 6. Reflect on your decisions. Take time to analyze the outcomes of your choices, both good and bad. This reflection can help train your unconscious mind to make better judgments in the future. As we wrap up our exploration of Blink, let's recap the key insights we've uncovered about rapid cognition. 1. Our unconscious minds are capable of making remarkably accurate decisions based on very little information. 2. Thin slicing allows us to find patterns in situations and behavior, often without our conscious awareness. 3. Expert intuition, developed through years of experience, can lead to highly accurate snap judgments. 4. However, our rapid cognition can also be influenced by biases and stereotypes, leading to poor decisions. 5. We can improve our snap judgments by becoming aware of our biases, creating fair decision-making environments, and exposing ourselves to diverse perspectives. 6. The key to good decision-making is finding the right balance between trusting our instincts and engaging in careful analysis. Understanding the power of rapid cognition can transform how we approach decision-making in all aspects of life. Whether you're a business leader making strategic choices, a creative professional trusting your artistic instincts, or simply someone navigating daily social interactions, the insights from Blink can help you make better, faster decisions. I encourage you to pay more attention to those fleeting thoughts and gut feelings that flash through your mind. They may contain valuable insights that your conscious mind hasn't yet processed. At the same time, be aware of your biases and know when to slow down and think more deliberately. Try experimenting with thin slicing in your daily life. The next time you meet someone new, pay attention to your initial impression and see how it compares to your opinion after getting to know them better. Or the next time you're faced with a decision, try making a snap judgment and then compare it to the conclusion you reach after careful analysis. You might be surprised at how often your initial instinct is correct. Remember, the goal isn't to always rely on snap judgments, but to develop a more nuanced understanding of when to trust your gut and when to engage in more deliberate thinking. By harnessing the power of your adaptive unconscious and balancing it with careful analysis, you can dramatically improve your decision-making skills and navigate life's complexities with greater ease and confidence. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Malcolm Gladwell's Blink, The Power of Thinking Without Thinking. I hope you've gained valuable insights into the fascinating world of rapid cognition and the hidden power of your unconscious mind. If you'd like to dive deeper into these concepts, I encourage you to check out the full book. You can find a link to purchase Blink on Amazon in the description of this episode. Until next time, keep thinking fast, stay curious, and trust your instincts, but don't forget to question them too. This is CEO's Library, the 1% Bookshelf, signing off.